I'm Elisabeth Larkin with Balanced Body Pilates. These functional footprints are invented by Jean-Claude West, a kinesiologist, and Katie Keller, a physical therapist in New York City. The purpose of the functional footprints is to teach dancers how to use their external rotation or their turnout from the hip joints more effectively. The functional footprints are beneficial tools for every single one of our clients to improve the ability to balance around their central axis and to align the pelvis at the optimal position on the femur heads. Here's how to use these functional footprints. Position them about 4 inches apart so that when you turn the footprints out, the heels are almost touching. Now you'll see that the functional footprints have a notch on them at the front. This notch is for the second toe, the tip of the second toe. There's a notch at the rear of the footprint as well, and that will correspond to the location of your Achilles tendon, to align with your Achilles tendon. Now the outside ankle bone should be just back of the notch at the center, at the central axis of the footprint. These footprints are designed to align the axis of the foot and ankle, the axis of the ankle, with the axis of the hip joint. Now the footprints will rock a little bit. You'll feel that when you shift your weight forward, and the forefoot of the footprint will come down onto the base, and then you can rock your weight back. Now many people tend to either stand a little forward on their feet. Less likely, many people tend to stand more back. So your first exercise on this footprint, on these footprints, is to close your eyes and rock forward and back until you feel yourself balanced, floating, neither standing onto your heels nor onto your forefoot, but at the center of your foot. Now place the pads of your middle fingers at the corners of your pubic bone and your thumbs at your navel. Keeping your pelvis in a neutral position, externally rotate one leg, and then externally rotate the other, clarifying the motion in your hip joint. Now externally rotate both legs. Have the idea that you can bring your sacrum forward and your pubic bone a little bit forward also, so you stand high on your femur heads. Now, you can also do this in internal rotation. Steady the footprints and internally rotate. Have the idea that your thigh bone can spiral in at the hip joint, and then the other leg spirals in, and then internally rotate at both legs, drawing the inner thighs towards each other and having the feeling of widening across the back of your pelvis. Now alternate between external rotation, standing a little taller at the front of your femur heads, and internally rotating, widening across the back of your pelvis. Alternate external with internal rotation. Now we'll change to rotation to the one side. So externally rotate and turning the pelvis, steer the pelvis and the sides of the ribs to face one side of the room, come back to face the front, and rotate in the opposite direction, keeping equal weight on both feet, equal weight on both legs, and do that also with your eyes closed. Woohoo! That was exciting. With your eyes closed. And there goes the proprioceptive sense. Alrighty. Now, I have clients who are trying to put off hip replacement, and they are working to keep the posterior hip capsule pliable so they don't lose range of motion in internal rotation. For that, I separate the footprints a little bit, making a staggered stance. And then turning to face one side, stay floating on the footprints and internally rotate the posterior leg, the back leg, encouraging internal rotation at this hip joint while the pelvis stays level and steady. And the same would be true on the other side. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you next time. Bye.